Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the worst 6 gadgets in Brawl Stars right now. So not done this for some time now, so going to be looking at the worst ones which you should not be picking up in the shop. So before we jump into it, make sure you're using a crate code. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, jumping into the 6th worst gadget in the game right now, we have Ruff's second gadget, I believe, air support. So air support, not really the best gadget right now. Well, obviously it's one of the worst gadgets inside of a game. It looks really flashy, looks so scary, but in literal terms, doesn't do any damage. 700 damage, literally tickles the enemy, and again, only really good at the beginning of the games. I can see why they don't want to make this gadget broken, because it has potential just by mechanics that it can be like really strong in the future, but I still believe it's deserving of at least a small buff. They should probably decrease the time it takes to even enter the map, because it's just so easy for the enemies to run away and just avoid all damage, and it only deals 700 damage, so I feel like it does deserve a few small buffs. Of course, we don't want this gadget to be too strong, because again, it's definitely got potential to be incredibly broken just by how much of the map it covers and the amount of pressure you can have on the enemies. But for me, just looks really fancy, doesn't really do anything. So that's going to be 6th worst. Let's hop into number 5. All right guys, just jumping into the 5th worst gadget in the game right now, we have BB's new second gadget, extra sticky, I believe it's called. So this gadget, at first thoughts, I didn't think it would be the strongest of gadgets. I thought it had potential to be pretty underrated, but as time has gone on, this gadget just really feels lackluster. Only a 2-second slow, and you have to use your super to get the slow off. Again, I just feel like the other gadget for BB is just way better, and just in most practical terms, with the BB bubble, I'll be either just up close and just about using my bubble in the enemy's faces, to finish off a kill. Not a lot of the times I'm really close to the enemies and using this bubble. Again, we can use a slow right here, but I don't think it still gives me that much time to really get into the enemy's face, whereas I just prefer the other gadget where you can just obviously gain that extra HP whilst you're taking damage, and it allows BB to get closer. That's why I don't really like this gadget too much. So I'm going to pop the gadget right here. It does slow the BB down, but we're already in the BB's face, Tara's face, sorry, and we're able to take them down regardless. So we should be able to kill this max. I don't know why this max is just dashing into our faces, but yeah, that's going to be that. And also the maps that BB are really good on, for the most part, you're going to be close to the enemies. You're going to be in and around walls, and the slow's not really going to help you too much. So in terms of a buff for this, it should just increase it by maybe like a second or something. You don't want this to be too toxic. Again, you can compare the slows to like Crow, for example, that has a 5-second slow, and you only have to use your main attack, which obviously you can just get it at any point, whereas this one takes a little while to get your bubble sometimes with BB. And again, you're kind of just hoping for some good value with it, whereas you can just guarantee value with other gadgets a lot easier. So we should be able to get both of these guys down, and just our Mortis and the Tara left. This should be an easy walk-in, but at least they got a kill on the Tara right there. So let me know if you actually like this gadget, whether you see any value with it. It could be being a little bit too harsh. Maybe there's a few other gadgets which you don't really get too much value with, but that's just how I see it with BB. So at least we got a 2-second slow right there. Nearly got us the double kill. I mean, if you can catch the enemies off like that, maybe it's okay. But I'm just so used to that other gadget, just can't see myself switching anytime soon. So somehow Tara is able to sneak that one in, and I can easily see us losing the game right here. So we're going to try and pressure it up. We're getting close to our super. Again, Tara has got super, so we need to try and bait that one out. Mortis just straight away gets yeeted, and this is looking from a comfortable win to a loss right here. So gotta be careful of this Tara with just the Mortis back. It's looking like the max is able to squeeze that one in. So that's gonna be the 5th worst gadget. Let's hop into number 4. All right guys, jumping into the 4th worst gadget in the game right now with Amber's new gadget, Dancing Flames. So Dancing Flames reminds me of Rattled Hive with B, and I can see straight away why they didn't want to make this gadget like too strong, because B's gadget was easily the most broken thing in the game when it got buffed, I believe, about a year ago or so. So I can see why they don't want this gadget to be too strong, but it's just really, really bad. The radius is just straight pathetic. It's just so bad, which again, I don't really mind too much, because we don't want those new gadgets to be really broken. So fair play to Supercell, you don't want these gadgets to just completely define the brawler and break the game. So I'd rather a new gadget come into the game, not be very strong, and then get buffed in the future, and then we can really see its potential. But yeah, it's just really bad, and especially considering the other Amber gadget just really suits her playstyle. You can actually combine that gadget with her star power as well, and it allows you to chain your supers a lot easier. You get an extra speed boost as well. It's just so strong and fits Amber's kit. And this one, I mean, it kind of, well, it was created. I remember seeing someone put in the reasons why it was actually added to the game. I forgot who actually said it. Someone must have put it on Twitter, but the reason why they actually introduced this one, which makes sense, is just try and at least make it so Amber isn't as easily like counterable up close. You know, Amber really suffers when brawlers get close to us, so this gadget was well, tried to be made so counters can't counter it as strong, but it just doesn't really do anything. Like, it just literally tickles them. So that's going to be the 4th worst. Let's hop into number 3. All right, guys, so jumping into the 3rd worst gadget in the game right now, we have another somewhat new gadget. It is Stunt Double with Lola. So again, another comparison where one of the other gadget just really suits the brawler, like Lola's freeze frame gadget. It's literally one of the best gadgets inside of a game, and then this one is just so lackluster. You only recover about, I think it's 300 health, 350 health whilst you switch positions with your ego, and a lot of the time if you're throwing your ego out, and especially close to an enemy, it's going to be pretty much destroyed straight away. So right here, we're going to throw off the ego. We're going to switch right here, but it doesn't really do too much. If anything, it just exposes yourself a little more. You know, it can be cool on maps like Bridge Too Far, where maybe you want to go for your optimal matchup. You can actually just throw your ego over and just switch positions. But again, it doesn't really seem too effective, because for the most part, even though they changed Lola not too long ago with like how have to put your ego away, else you're gonna get that reduced damage if it's up close instead. I just kind of butchered that explanation. You get what I mean. So how they changed Lola before, you still don't really want to throw your ego away. You still want to put your ego close to you and change your position when the ego is really close to you. It's not really beneficial, is it? So yeah, that's exactly why I don't really see this gadget being too strong. So in terms of buff ideas for this gadget, can be pretty simple. Just make you recover a little bit more HP. So I would probably even buff this to like at least like 1,000 or 1,500 to even make it somewhat strong, because then you might have like opportunities to heal up a little bit and catch the enemies off guard. So like for potential, you could just throw your ego down the lane, just switch straight away, and then you're going to heal up like that 1,500. So yeah, again, gonna switch positions with my ego. Maybe it's caught them off guard a little bit, but still I've had to run back to the ball, and it's not really done too much. I could have just made that same play and that same goal without this gadget. So yeah, kind of butchered this explanation, but you guys get what I mean. It's just not the best right now. So again, gonna throw our gadget forward, well, our ego forward. Gonna look to try and get close to the bind. I mean, maybe when the ego goes pretty low, I could maybe get a good switch off, but yeah, just not really getting the most value of this game. So yeah, ego going pretty low. I didn't even activate it in time, and it's the fact that the ego only has 3,000 HP as well. It can be really hard to time things right, whereas you're pretty much gonna get ultimate value with her other gadget every single time. So getting close to our super again here. Maybe we can make a cool play with our ego. I mean, you can make some cool plays in Brawl as well with it. So we switch positions there, doesn't really do too much, and that's going to be the 3rd worst gadget. Let's hop into number 2. All right, guys, so jumping into the 2nd worst gadget in the game right now, we have Jacky's new gadget rebuild. So to begin with, I thought this gadget was going to be really interesting. As soon as I started playing it, I knew that this gadget was really, really bad. It doesn't help Jacky out whatsoever, mainly because the radius of this gadget isn't really the greatest. And if you think about it, right, Jacky just isn't the strongest brawler right now. This isn't going to help her confirm kills. And to be honest, well, I don't even know how I scored that. That was a really bad mistake by the ball. But yeah, to be honest, like her other gadgets really going to help you get close to the enemies and confirm some kills. But the main weakness about Jacky is just she doesn't do enough damage, right? She doesn't do anywhere near enough damage as the other tanks. When you pull people closer towards you, you're actually hindering yourself. You're not actually going to be able to finish off the kills a lot of the time, because you can't actually shoot straight away as soon as you pull with Jacky. And yeah, this gadget doesn't really do too much. Like, look at that radius. It's so tiny, doesn't rebuild hardly any walls, and for the most part, brawlers that counter Jacky, you know, the wall break aspect, they can just build up their supers again, break some more walls up, and that gadget's going to be pretty much useless. It's not really going to help you in the long run. So I'd like to see a big radius buff to this. You see a lot of the time Ash on Twitter, if you guys know him, he's always been vouching for this to receive a big buff in terms of Jacky's gadget radius, and I couldn't agree more. Literally every single point he said about this gadget I agree with, because it's so bad. It has potential to be such a cool gadget, and it's just not what I thought it would be. So yeah, we're going to pull out this crow towards us. Probably going to go down here. Somehow we just managed to get the kill on the crow, but Jacky, one of the worst brawlers in the game, and it's just really not helping this gadget whatsoever. Built a few walls. I mean, in Brawl, I feel like that's probably the only game mode where this gadget has any value in whatsoever, but just overall really disappointed with this gadget. So that's going to be the second worst. Let's hop into number 1. All right guys, so jumping into the worst gadget in the game right now. Should be no surprises whatsoever here. It's going to be the worst gadget in the game until they actually just completely remove it from the game. It is protective tunes on Poco. Don't really need to say anything about this gadget, just completely useless. Even if you're up against literally 3 brawlers that have a stun or a slow effect, this gadget isn't even going to be any good. It's just really frustrating that this gadget was built to kind of like counter certain things, and it's still not the greatest. Only 2 seconds. There's been so many suggestions on how to change this gadget, how to buff it, how to make it better, and it's just, they're not really doing anything with it. So I'm kind of confused as to why they're just keeping it in the game, even though it doesn't really do anything for Poco right now. His other gadget is incredibly strong. I remember where there was a time where this gadget actually had some use. I think it was like a year ago now, where there was a backyard bowl meta and crow slows used to be the bane of existence. So people used to use Poco with this gadget and counter crow slows, but still it wasn't really the best. And as time has gone on, people just realized that this gadget is just completely useless. So for me, I wouldn't even buff it, just completely remove it and try and add another cool gadget with Poco. So let me know down in the comment section below what you think are the worst 6 gadgets. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.